This movie will make you not want to talk to anyone on an airplane. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well out there. And today we're going to talk about a Wes Craven thriller from 2005. But before we do that, do me a favor, like, comment, and subscribe. Join me, I greatly would appreciate that. Today we're going to be talking about Wes Craven's Red Eye. This film came out August 19th of 2005. It's PG-13. It's only an hour and 25 minutes long, which is a major strength of this film. Had a budget of $25 million, and upon release that summer, it made $57.8 in America and $96 worldwide. So this was a nice little hit for Wes Craven that year, coming off of the disaster that was Cursed. Actually, Cursed came out in February of this same year, and that movie is legendary about the behind-the-scenes issues between Wes Craven, Kevin Williamson, and the Weinstein brothers. They basically went back and reshot the entire film. And I'm going to do a deep dive. I have the Blu-ray from Scream Factory. I'm going to do a deep dive review on that film coming up between now and Halloween. And there's a lot to talk about with that film, and we'll get into it when we get on to that. But this movie was, once again, directed by Wes Craven. We have Rachel McAdams in this film as Lisa. She is the manager of this hotel, luxurious hotel in Miami, Florida. She's getting ready to catch a red eye to go back to Miami from Texas. Cillian Murphy plays Jackson Ripner, and we'll talk about him in a second. And the great Brian Cox plays Joe, and he is Lisa's retired father who doesn't get a lot of screen time, but his character is integral to what is going on in this film. Now, we meet Lisa right in the beginning of the film. She's in the airport trying to get onto her flight to get back to Miami. And she meets this gentleman in the airport who seems like a really nice guy, Jackson, and they strike up a conversation. They end up meeting at the hotel or the airport bar for a drink and just some conversation. And Jackson seems like a really nice guy. And they end up getting on their plane. It's a red-eye flight back to Miami, hence the name. And who is Lisa sat next to but Jackson himself? What a happy coincidence, until he turns to her and tells her if she doesn't do exactly what he tells her, he's going to have her. He has a guy outside of her father's house, and her father will be killed. And that starts the terror and the suspense of the rest of what takes place in this film. And pretty much Lisa is trying to find a way out of this situation, but there's nowhere to go. They're in the air on this airplane, and she has limited time to make this phone call. And what Jackson wants is for her to have this Homeland Security chief named Charles Keefe, who we see in like news clips in that to set his character up. He's going to be spending a couple days at her hotel in Miami. And he wants her to change the floor and the room that he is staying in, and she can make that happen for him. And if she does that, he'll call off the hitman outside her father's house, and when she gets off the plane, everything will be fine. But Lisa has a hard time believing Jackson. So there's a lot of back and forth on the plane, very suspenseful stuff. The stuff in the plane is great, and Wes Craven directs the shit out of it. And obviously it was a set, but it does a nice job with the directing, and Cillian Murphy and Rachel McAdams really do work well together, building the suspense. And right when the plane's landing, Lisa calls and gets the hotel, O'Keefe's hotel room changed by her hotel manager assistant, Cynthia. And she makes up some bullshit excuse and say, I authorized it. So they do change his room to the room that Jackson wanted, because he works for a group of people that want to kill Keefe. And we see Keith getting put up in the room, and we see this fishing boat that gets searched by the Secret Service. And they pull up out of the water this missile, this shoulder-fired missile. And thank God Lisa gets off the plane. She's racing towards her dad's house, but calls the hotel. They move Keith. They blow up the hotel room, but Keith and his family are safe. And she goes back. She gets to her father's house and takes out the hitman by running him over with the car. Jackson shows up. We have our one last battle between Lisa and Jackson. Her dad ends up shooting him dead, and that is the end of Red Eye. And this movie, again, like I said, one of the main strengths of this film is it's only an hour and 25 minutes long. This movie, once it gets going, it takes off. And Wes Craven, obviously one of our masters of horror, a little bit different for him. This is more of a suspenseful film, more like a Hitchcockian thriller. And he really does ratchet up the suspense. And it helps that he has two really good actors in this on this plane going back and forth, and Cillian Murphy is chilling. It's amazing how well. I mean, he's a great actor, and we all know that. But it's amazing how well he flips the switch. Like, he's so nice and strikes up this wonderful conversation with Lisa at this bar, and he's charming. And all of a sudden on the plane, he switches it off just like that and becomes this terrifying figure that's going to rule over her life if she does not do what he needs her to do. And the whole terrorist plot assassination is kind of in the background until we get off the plane and we see what's going on. And then it's basically just Lisa trying to save her father, which she ends up doing. But this is just a tight, well-constructed thrill ride. Is it perfect? What movie is? There's only a few movies I consider perfect. It's not. I think after they get off the plane, it turns into a very run-of-the-mill thriller. It doesn't mean it's not well done. It is, and it's fun. It turns into more of like a popcorn thriller at that point, where we're kind of racing against the clock. But the real meat of it, the part on the plane, is so well done that I really enjoy this film. Now, the airplane was a set, a machine that would rock it back and forth, so they would be able to get the movement they needed when the script called for turbulence, or when they needed it for the shot. The film originally had a budget of $44 million. For some reason, I can't find why, but before production started, they cut it down to $25 million, though it was still a nice size hit. Now, I just rewatched this last night. Paramount just released this on 4K, and it has a nice, cool slipcover art. And if you open it up, it shows the original poster art when this was released back in 2005. And there's some new special features on here, commentary with Patrick Lussier, Wes Craven's editor. There's a filmmaker's focus on Wes Craven. I haven't watched any of these yet. I just watched this last night with my wife. And there's a few other making of Red Eyes. It's a really well done. The transfer is fantastic. It sounds really well. It sounds really great on my JBL soundbar. So if you like this movie, it's definitely worth picking up from Paramount. I think you can get it on Amazon for like $25. But transfer is really well done. They did a nice job with this. At the end of the day, this is a really well done thriller. There's a little bit of a change of pace for Wes Craven coming off of the disaster that was Cursed. And at the end of the day, I would give this an 8 out of 10. It reminds me a lot of the Johnny Depp film Nick of Time that I reviewed last year with Christopher Walken. That's a great thriller as well, really fun 90s thriller. This kind of reminds me of that. It's not exactly the same, but it kind of reminds me of that as the movie goes along. But yeah, it's a really solid thriller. If you've never seen it, I highly recommend checking it out. 8 out of 10 for Red Eye. If you've ever seen this movie, leave a comment down below, let me know. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, share this video. You're going to appreciate that. I'll be back with some more reviews, but until next time, bye.